My personal learning theory has a very strong and deep foundation in secure and safe attachments. You will see, as I lay out four theories I aspire to master, that everything is continuously circling through four stages of teaching. First, are we attached? Does the student love me and want to work for me? Second, are my procedures in place? And are these procedures effective in getting the result I desire? Third, do my students feel good? Do they feel as if they truly have freedom to choose their responses? Are they able to reflect and self-evaluate? Lastly, do my lessons engage the children through my presentation and my content? The hope is that with all four aspects of my theory in play, I will be a part of a classroom that is effective in learning and in management. We begin with attachment, the rock of my foundation. Dr. Gordon Neufeld is a developmental psychologist. He is the author of the book Hold On to Your Kids: Why Parents Need to Matter More Than Peers. His attachment-based theory puts unconditional love at the forefront of relationships. How are we to expect our class to choose to do what is right if they have no desire to please us? Neufeld describes the idea of counterwill in a wonderful little vignette. If somebody comes up behind you in a grocery store, let's say you're in a checkout stand, you're lining up about to go through, and someone comes up behind you and starts pushing you from behind, pressuring you from behind. You don't turn around and say, "Thank you very much, that's the direction I was going in." Everything in you blocks. You resist. None of us likes to be pushed around. We're allergic to coercion. We don't like anybody telling us what to do. Unless, of course, you looked around to see who's pushing you from behind, and you saw somebody that you are wonderfully attached to. You just go for the ride. Neufeld's approach to relationships is the foundation that everything else is built upon. Time needs to be taken to form real attachments with each student in class, to let them know that they are appreciated, that nothing they could ever do will break your relationship with them. Because as Socrates said about a student who hadn't learned under his teachings, he did not love me. I could not teach him. Harry K. Wong teaches strategies on effective teaching based highly in procedures. Procedures are the clearly defined behaviors that students follow in daily classroom activities. Procedures dictate each and every activity and transition of the day. How the class moves to carpet time, how they ask to use the restroom, how they quiet down, how they sit. The predictability of knowing exactly what is expected of you leads to your success. Wong says teachers often ask him, "What should I do to this kid?" He answers by saying that you do not do things to people. Rather, you need to teach people to do things for themselves. Classroom management teaches procedures for accomplishing this. Discipline is a distinctly different subject. Dr. Marvin Marshall, author of Discipline Without Stress, Punishment, or Rewards, says it's important that our students feel good because that is the mindset they need to be prepared to learn best. He illustrates this mindset with the following scenario. What would you rather hear when walking into a restaurant? "I can't seat you for 30 minutes. Or, "In 30 minutes, I will have a wonderful table for you." The result is the same, but the perception is different. Teachers need to be aware of negative statements they make and always be attempting to use positive ones instead. by using acknowledgement and affirmation, by saying, "Faye, you stayed so determined and accomplished so much," by saying, "This is a very important test, and I know you all are going to do very well." It is important that students know they have freedom to choose their responses, as Marshall depicts through a story about a nurse in his book. This was the situation during surgery, when a competent nurse was asked for an instrument and handed it to the surgeon a moment later than the surgeon expected it. The brilliant surgeon, who lacked people skills, turned to the nurse and berated her. Needless to say, the nurse's day was not very bright. She constantly thought throughout the day how the surgeon made her angry. She also reflected on the situation while driving home, and she then related the story to her husband at the dinner table. Her husband inquired what time the incident occurred. The wife responded that it took place around 9 o'clock that morning. The husband then inquired, "What time is it now?" She responded, 7 o'clock. The husband then said, "You are telling me this incident took place 10 hours ago and the surgeon is still making you angry?" Things do not make us feel angry. We choose our reaction. Even after receiving a stimulus, an instant passes wherein a person can decide upon a response. It's also so important that we teach students how to reflect and self-evaluate. It's in the last step that discipline, quote unquote, happens. Asking your students the following questions. If what you are choosing is not getting you what you want, then what is your plan? If you would like to get your work done, what would be your first step? Is what you are doing helping you get what you want? Madeline Hunter's model of mastery learning lays out specific ways in which all lessons should be presented. You begin with the anticipatory set, tying in yesterday's lesson to today's. Get the class interested by using a small activity, a prompt, or a handout. Next is the objective. As I did with this presentation, you want your students to know what it is they are going to learn and why. You will tell your students what, how, and why they are going to learn, why they need to learn it, what they will be able to do after learning it, and how they will demonstrate what they learned. Next is the input, the knowledge itself, presented in the most effective manner through discovery, discussion, reading, listening, observing, etc. After, the teacher models the final product through graphics or a demonstration. You then check for understanding. After, and under direct teacher supervision, you support the students through guided practice. And when they understand completely, they begin their own independent practice. To close, the class shows or tells you what they learned. I believe all four theories are always in play and are being circled through and layered upon throughout the day. If the class is destructive, you as a teacher can self-evaluate. How are my attachments? Do I need to bridge anything with a student? Did I follow my procedures? How does the class feel? Do they themselves need to self-evaluate? Did I present an engaging lesson? By implementing all four theories, I will have a classroom that is predictable, not only in academics, but in spirit. And with predictability comes the ability to sit deep down in personal growth.